Hi, welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable, where we discuss all topics real estate. I'm Nick Ahrens.
Hey, and I'm Steve Crowley.
I'm Darren Shepard.
And I'm Jimmy Reed, and we're your hosts.
Welcome to Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Lel, where we're talking all about real estate. And I'm joined here this morning with Sherri Zaic. She is a fantastic home stager here in Orange County. Really excited to hear all about her experience. Over 40 years of interior design
Long
experience.
time, lots of fun.
I know. Okay, so straight into it. I had a look on your website last night, and one of the things that you mentioned was that you knew from a very early age that you wanted to get into interior design.
I did. Somehow at age 9, I declared that's what I was going to do. I told my mom, and that was the end. I studied it in school, and here I am.
So how does a 9-year-old, A, know what interior design is, and what, gave you the inspiration to find out, that was the specific career that you were really excited about doing?
I think I was into cutting up all the cool sheets and making my new canopy bed and new pillows, and I don't know how I knew what it was, but that's what I thought.
So does your family have any background in it?
No one.
Okay.
No one. I know.
Oh, got it.
Isn't it funny? We didn't have an interior designer. I don't know how I knew.
I wonder how long interior designing has been going on, and especially home staging.
Right.
Yeah. Interior
home
design
staging
has
is
been going on
about
for a very long
30,
time.
40 years old, 35 years old, maybe home staging.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so relatively new.
it is.
Yeah. Okay, so at 9 years age, you decided you wanted to pursue a career in interior design. Did you go to university for it?
I did. I went to Cal State Fullerton and then finished at Cal State Long Beach.
Okay.
Interior design. And during that time, I was very, very fortunate to be working for an interior designer the whole time. So I didn't take the $10 an hour drafting jobs when I finished 5 years of college. I was able to move right into project management and some pretty big things.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
So the first job that you got working with this, was it a lady, a company,
It was a
big
man.
team?
It was a man.
A gentleman.
Yeah,
Okay,
a
got it.
gentleman. And he had a big, beautiful design studio on Tustin Avenue in Tustin that I always aspired. I don't know what was going on in Tustin at that time, but there was all kinds of designers that had studios up and down the street. And I said, someday I'm going to have that. And in 1991, I opened my own studio, and same kind of idea on Lake Mission Viejo.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I live in Mission Viejo. I take my kids around Lake Mission Viejo all the time. We're always down there at the beach. So now I know that you established your first company there.
Yeah,
That's
that was my
awesome.
first company. 1991, I had the store for 6-7 years, and then I moved it home when I started having kids.
Okay.
And all those people followed me, and that's why I am where I am today, all those people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lengthy career in interior design, and then you moved across into home staging.
I did.
How long have you been doing specifically home staging?
4 years. 4 years.
4 years. I would not have guessed. Do you know why? I started at the Reed team nearly 2 years ago. So I'm Jimmy Reed's production partner. I
Right.
help on, I'm client facing. I also work on the back end, making sure our timelines are all met, that everyone, understands what they're supposed to be doing, that we meet our deadlines. I show homes. I do this, then.
Yeah,
A
you
bit
do
of
a lot.
everything.
I know
do.
how much you do. Many hats.
So we've crossed paths quite a few times over the last nearly 2 years. Jimmy has a lot of past clients like yourself who turn to him whenever they're considering moving, relocating, upgrading, downgrading, selling their property, and that's when I reach out to you.
Right.
Right. So what's the first step?
Well, the first step is to see the property. You guys kind of prime the clients, I think, a little bit to know that there's a little bit more expected to get the maximum amount of their property. They get the choice how much they want to do, and I go in and kind of like a wrecking ball and say, oh, well, let's get rid of that, and let's get rid of that, and let's paint that. And so then we all bring it back to reality with prices for them, and they choose, and we get to work.
I mean, not so much of a wrecking ball.
No.
You don't shy away from the tough conversations.
Right. Someone's got to have it.
I know. So as we know, competitive market, not much inventory. However, when it comes to selling, to get the best bang for your buck, you do want to present it in the most favorable way.
Yes.
So that's where, we meet up together at the property, we walk the home. I write a little list of, miscellaneous things, a light bulb's not working, electrical socket is
You take
loose.
care of all that.
Yeah, we take care of all of like the minimum, the smaller ticket items. But then aesthetically, when you're walking around the home and trying to picture, all of the different people that could potentially choose to purchase the home, how do you make sure that it's neutral enough to make that happen?
Well, when I was studying to be an interior designer and in between school and opening my own company, I also did model homes for about 4 years, solid only model homes. And so in model homes, we learned that this is a product that we are marketing. We're not just making something look pretty. We are literally marketing a product. And so that's what I go into. I have to know who the buyer is, if it's a family, if it's an older couple, if it's more single people. And I really merchandise towards the buyer, who's going to be buying, a young family, an older family. And we try to do, make it look fun if it's a fun family, make it look comfortable if it's an older couple or something. And so that's the first thing, is I get to know who the buyer is going to be, is expected to be. And then I look at the bones of the house really, really good. And some things, some people have the old colored wood cabinets and they have old granite that is darker. So I have to take those things into consideration, that they're not going to change those, but I can bring them back to life and make them look hip again. So just with my decor, we make that look like it's in. So a young couple, if that's a family neighborhood, is going to come in and go, oh, wow. And they don't even notice that they've got this old rust-colored granite, because there's pops of rust everywhere else hit with some white and some black, and all of a sudden it all looks great again.
See, this is all happening in your head. You're so quiet when you walk through.
Right.
But your brain is
I'm concentrating.
Your brain is in overdrive, thinking about what, inventory you've got at your warehouse, what's available within the time constraints. Because some of these homes, they get listed, photographed very, very quickly. You have to work under a serious time
and that is
crunch.
the big difference from interior design, where you pretty much set the stage of your life. You can pick your project and pick your schedule, but then staging, all of a sudden it's like, oh, nope, listing, see you next week. And so we're in overdrive all the time. Never know what next week is going to look like. Just absolutely no idea what it's going to be and who's going to call. And the calls just keep coming, and that's what we do. We just go fast. So
I don't know how you do it. I'm in a similar boat. Anyone who's in real estate knows how quickly things move.
Right.
It's a 24/7 hour, week job. You don't have like a specific 9 to 5 hours. If you're a very well organized person, you can kind of preempt some things and give you as much notice as possible.
Exactly.
Then that really helps.
Right.
I definitely try to.
Yes. Well, we stay really organized. And then the payoff is, you do someone's house, and we've done some occupieds lately, some people that had to linger in their homes for a little while they're trying to move out of state or whatever. And they're just so thrilled. And then they really realize how much work we all just did, what you did, what I did. And they're very appreciative. And we've been getting over asking, even since the market has changed, we've been getting over asking still. So it's really rewarding to see that on the other end, that all that work really pays off.
I think I saw a statistic that 94% of realtors, completely see the value in home staging. Yeah. And then 31% of buyers, it definitely increased their likelihood of submitting an offer if the home was staged.
Exactly.
It gave them a better idea of what the home would look like.
Right.
So if it was vacant, sometimes you have a tenant, they move out. We've had that in the past where I've asked you to come over. The tenant's moving out in 2 weeks. Can you just do a pre-walkthrough? We'll get our painters out here, deep clean the carpets, and then you come in and just, throw your fairy glitter all over the place.
That's what it is.
And then just the difference it makes. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. It is. It's very rewarding that we can change it up so drastically, and no one ever expects their place to look like that. We always get the comments, oh, maybe we'll stay. Oh, I never thought of this. Yes. It happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so knowing it's not for the faint of heart. Home staging, it's a hard graft.
Yes.
If someone is thinking of potentially going into that field, you obviously went through the process of getting your degree in interior design, working for, someone for a period
Plenty
of time.
of people.
Yeah, to get that experience, and then you went off on your own.
Right.
Is that the best route, or could you just kind of jump a few steps?
Well, yeah, I think for home staging, you can jump a few steps as long as you'll probably notice when we walk through, I'm not really measuring a whole lot of things and writing a whole lot of things down. So it definitely has to be innate. You have to have some sense of scale, and you have to be able to really manage everything around you, know what's around you, or you're going to be taking forever to do it. If you have to measure where every piece of art goes to then go measure every piece of art to see if it fits there, it's going to take a really long time, and it's going to be so laborious it probably won't be too enjoyable. So first of all, you kind of have to have just that inkling and that gift of design and knowing, how things work in a home and colors and all that. And if you can get the scale and the coloring down, then you can jump in. You don't have to have a degree. I've had lots of helpers that just really enjoy it. And I noticed that the link between all of them is they love organizing. They love everything being super organized, which is the key to being able to find something and put it away and find it again. And
so you're referring to your warehouse and how it's just
yes.
this fantastic Disneyland phenomenon where
It
it's
is.
just so
yes.
curated.
And organized people come
Yeah.
there and they are like in seventh heaven. They love it.
I can't wait to go.
You have
I'm
to
so
go. I know,
excited.
you have to go.
I'm trying to
So
find.
yeah, it's
trying
pretty
to find
fun.
the time to stop by.
It's like going to your own little home goods that's separated into little compartments, and you get to go there every single day and reinvent something. So that's the fun part, is you get to reinvent and figure out a different way to use things.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
you showed me some pictures of you just have an entire wall of blankets, and an
Right.
entire wall of pillowcases, and an entire room of pillows.
Right. It's crazy.
I don't. Yeah, but just
So-
having that extensive collection,
Yes.
I can imagine makes things a little bit easier.
Much easier. We've collected that over 4 years or so, and I still buy things for certain projects to make them really fun. I'm going to do a Manhattan Beach house tomorrow, and it's really a teardown. And I'm going to do a real classic looking old California vintage look. And so I printed up this gigantic Volkswagen bus. And my neighbor and I, who's a second grade teacher and super handy and loves doing this, would trade it for the world. We decoupaged on, some canvas, this cool bus. So we've got this gigantic, cool piece of art. So it's just, you just invent things. And so, if
love
somebody
that.
wanted to do it, they really have to be a little innovative. And it's a grind. You do have to work really, really hard. And obviously you've got to think fast, because the jobs do come up pretty darn quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there cost associated with it?
To start your own company?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
How would that impact
and it's
your
interesting
decision?
now with the inflation. I go shopping now, and I literally thought yesterday, if I had to be filling my inventory now instead of 4 years ago, it would really have been, a little bit of cumbersome issue. It would have not been good.
Yeah.
But now we've added all this inventory, and we try not to shop so much now. And we've got a big warehouse, we've got rent to pay, so there's a lot of costs. We have to have a van, and there's insurance, and there's guys, and there's gals, and everybody. There's a lot of costs involved. So
Yeah.
you've got to price it right and come out with profit on the top of that. And but for a couple years, we dove in and decided we are going to put all of our fees into our inventory. And so we grew our inventory pretty quickly.
And I notice every time I see you delivering, I get very excited when I see your truck
Yeah,
arrive.
it's
So
fun.
excited. I'm like, it's happening. It's
Yeah,
happening.
it's fun.
But everything's so beautifully packaged. And, you guys, when you remove all of the items, you take a lot of care
Yeah.
into making sure that they're returned safely. So that's definitely going to help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cost too, and it's just every single thing you just learn every day. Oh, that got dirty. We better get this to wrap that
know,
and cover that.
yeah.
And so the art corners and the art, everything has to be wrapped up and put back like, somebody's going to go through and destroy it. You really have to protect everything really carefully.
So changing topic just ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on virtual staging?
Well, I've never done it, of course. That's a computer skill that I don't have. I can tell when something's virtually staged. I'm sure there's great benefits, right? Because everyone is really virtual now, right? They go online on Zillow or Redfin on the computer. They look up the listings, and that first impression is our hit. That is what we have to present to the people. They have about 3 seconds, right, to look at it and punch on to the next one. And they are just a button away from moving on from your listing. So you have to captivate them in some way. And I've seen some that looks really good and some that just looks like someone cut and pasted a sofa in a room, and so
when we get off this podcast, I'm going to show you our listing that we had a mega open house over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. We had over 250 people walk through the property.
Gosh.
This is a property that had an original owner, so it's 54 years old, and it's in need of TLC. The decision whether to get a formal home staging company in like yourself or do virtual staging was a conversation that we had, and in this instance, virtual staging seemed the most appropriate.
Excellent.
We didn't want to hide any of the
Right.
potential issues with the home. We want to have full transparency.
Right.
This is the condition of the home, and sometimes, if you put a rug down, there
Exactly.
could be
I
some
hate
confusion
hiding.
and
Yeah.
managing expectations.
Imperfections.
So we went down with just keeping it vacant and then getting a virtual staging designer to put in some couches, beds, pillows. It looks fantastic.
Wow.
Big disclaimer, virtually staged.
So then they arrive and it's empty.
So they know we had the pictures of the before and the pictures of the after. So I think, in that respect, it does help them just visualize the space a little bit more.
Yeah.
This is how big the bed would be and things like that.
Right.
But have you ever gone to a property and you've just been like, no, I'm not bringing my precious, beautifully wrapped pieces into this space?
I have been to one.
Tell me more.
And do you want the details?
I do.
Well, no one lived there, and it was one of you guys' listings. I'm looking at the gentleman right now out the window, and we toured the house, and the couple had passed away, both of them.
At the property? Am I allowed to ask?
Probably,
Oh,
I think so. But in good ways, they just passed and naturally. And
Just so you know, you have to disclose that.
oh yes,
if it happened
absolutely.
within the last
and
3
I'm sure
years.
he did.
Yeah.
But we went up to the second story, which was kind of a little attic-y, but it was finished off. There was just filthy carpet going up the stairs, and by the time we all three came out of there, we all were bitten up to our
I knew you
thighs.
were going to say
Yes,
that.
fleas
Oh,
everywhere.
goodness.
It was awful, and so I had a very honest talk with your realtor, and I told him I don't think it's going to make a difference if we stage or not, and it probably will hide too much that I don't feel comfortable hiding. And there's so much money they could put into it, and the family was, the children need to get rid of this. They have their limit, they have their families. There's only so much they are willing to do and can do physically or monetarily. So, yeah, we didn't do that one.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that makes complete sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, last couple of questions, and then I think we're going to go get a glass of wine and have some lunch.
Oh,
Sound
let's
good?
do.
Okay, so obviously you've been doing this for 4 years. It brings you lots of joy,
Yep.
lots of job satisfaction. Yes. We worked on a listing late last year. There were 3 lovely sisters who were selling their homes, individually selling their homes and moving to various places around the States. And, you had a fantastic bond with the girls. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's just I didn't even know I was going to come to the second sister after I went to the first sister. And of course, I did know their stories. But then when I met the second sister at her house, it started coming together. But they were lovely, lovely ladies. They were my age-ish. And it was just a really great, we had great conversations. They both reacted to me in the same way. And they both were really wondering how in the world I was going to pull off anything for them because I didn't really write down a bunch. I didn't measure anything. They were very skeptical.
Yeah.
And they both told me afterwards, it's like, I can't believe what you have done with my house.
Well, you kind of come in so quietly.
Yeah.
Everything's in your head. You're not jotting things down. And then, but then you hand them the final quote.
Right.
This is the time frame that the job will be completed. This is the cost associated. These are the conditions, because you have to have conditions.
Yeah, I do.
To make sure your items are returned. They're not broken. What's the fee if they do get broken?
Sadly,
it happens.
we do.
It happens. But the jump from meeting you to the bill.
Right.
Sometimes causes a little bit of a shock to the system.
It is a little hard, and sometimes I have conversations with them. Some people want to know exactly what I'm bringing, and I'm fine to have that conversation with the client and reassure them. I sometimes pick a job that I've done that's kind of like theirs so they can look at it and relate. I definitely always refer them to my social media and my website so they can see how things change.
Which is wonderful.
There's befores and afters, and people can really appreciate that there is a style to everything. They're nice designer goods. It's not someone's garage sale items that I picked up. It's really nice designer furnishings. And they seem to they really trust Jimmy, and they really trust the Reed team. And that's really the answer usually. It's like, well, we trust him. We're just going to do what he says.
Yep.
And so they did, and we all became really close friends. I was going out with them every Saturday night until they both left the state.
Love that. Well, I think it was when you did the First Sisters property, and the wow factor and the number of showings that were scheduled.
Yeah,
as
that
soon
was
as
amazing.
the pictures went live, our showing team were just getting inundated with calls and requests for that weekend showing.
Right.
The second sister went, okay,
I'm
doing it.
Right. And she had a purple sofa, remember?
Yes, she
and
did.
Yeah, so she was a little more challenging. She had purple sofa, purple bedroom furniture.
With the wallpaper?
And the wallpaper
I love
all
the
over that living
wallpaper.
room and dining room. Yeah, it was a challenge, but we neutralized as much as we could. And it looked cool. And I think she was over asking, and in a flash, they both just had great success.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you came and joined us today on our podcast. I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy that I continue to work with you on Jimmy's listings, and our team continuing to work with you regularly to make their homes, their clients' homes shine.
Thank you. It is a pleasure. I love you guys. You guys are on your game. It's like one of the best companies I work with, and there's a difference for me. It really is great.
Oh, well, if you guys want to hear a little bit more or research into Sherri Zaic, her details are www.wellstagedhouse.com. TheWellStagedHouse.com. And then your Instagram is
the same, The Well Staged House. Yeah.
The Well Staged House.
Yeah,
all right,
fun.
guys.
Come see us.
Thanks ever so much for listening to the Real Estate Roundtable. We will speak to you again soon.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks again for listening to the Real Estate Roundtable. If you'd like to connect with any of the sales partners here on the Reed team, our information is below, and we'd love to chat with you.